Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about one of the biggest video game publisher companies or video game publishers in the country, if not in the world right now, called Epic Games. And I wanted to talk about them because in another video, I want to talk about their gaming app that they actually launched in the European Union, or basically in Europe. But before we talk about that, I want to make sure we know what Epic Games is for those who don't know, whether you're not gamers or maybe like me, you're just not heavy on the different gaming companies and what they do and their specialties and stuff. So this is a learning experience for me too. So in this video, let's go and talk about Epic Games, a little bit of its origins. And in the next video, we'll talk about the gaming app that they made, or the app store that they made for its European customers, and why Apple might be giving them a hard time. If you're interested in that, then stay on for this video. So again, Epic Games is a video game developer and publishing company based in Cary, North Carolina. Originally, Epic Games was named Potomac Gaming Systems when it was founded in 1991 because it was founded in Potomac, Maryland, before ultimately changing the name to Epic Mega Games in 1992. It stuck with that name for about 7 years after ultimately changing its name to the name we all know as Epic Games in 1999, which has been going strong for, at least by the name, almost 20 years now. Excuse me, for over 20 years now. Now, safe to say that Epic Games is a staple in the video game community, as it is the proprietor or the owner of the Unreal Gaming Engine, which is a lot bigger of a deal than I realized. Because not only is it good for rendering high quality video games in the modern age, the Unreal Engine is actually useful in the production of virtual sets to produce like TV shows and movies, namely The Mandalorian, something that I didn't know. So that's pretty cool. Epic Games is also responsible for some other big names in the video game market, including Gears of War, which is something I haven't played. So if that's, it seems like a pretty popular game, so maybe I'll give it a try if I'm able to catch up. It also created Fortnite, which I think we all know Fortnite, and Bulletstorm, just to name a few. So in the previous video, I made a video detailing what's called the DMA, or the Digital Markets Act. The Digital Markets Act is a law that went into effect, I believe, 2021, 2022, primarily for, well, not even primarily, exclusively for the European Union or Europe. And it affects all European countries. And the whole point of the DMA is to kind of level the playing field when it comes to companies that want to create their own proprietary and third party like app stores and gaming libraries that Apple, and primarily Apple and Google, more so Apple and any company that uses Android based software for their applications, their laptops and their phones and whatnot, they basically won't allow those third-party libraries and app stores to be used on their devices due to security reasons and plus competition that they don't want. So the DMA was created to level that playing field in the European market, making it so that gatekeepers such as Apple, you can say Samsung, LG, etc., have no choice but to allow other companies to create their own proprietary app stores and gaming libraries that we as everyday users can download to our phones, can download to our laptops, and will allow us to enjoy content that does not fall under the watchful eye of companies such as Apple. With that said, Epic Games has decided to put their bid into that market by creating and putting out their own proprietary third-party mobile app store, simply called Epic Games Store Mobile. Not only will this app hold and contain Epic's video games and their mobile-friendly games, but it'll also create, or rather host, games from other developers. Now, the reason for this is because it would allow those developers to make more money because they won't get hit with the same amount of fees as they would by using Apple's platform to push their apps and stuff. A lot of people have complained over the years that when it comes to using the Apple Store and maybe Google Play to push out their own apps that people may enjoy, that it's kind of like highway robbery, and there's a lot of money that those companies, those developers could see, but when it comes to Apple and some of these other big gatekeepers, that they just happen not to see it. So Epic is one of these third-party apps, or one of these third-party companies that is giving developers a solution around that, so that the revenue split, because it remains, I believe it's 80-20. Excuse me, it's actually 88-12. So using the Epic Store mobile app, developers will receive 88% of the revenue that their game and their products generate, while 12% goes to Epic Games. And that is a very big difference compared to, say, using Apple and any other company that uses Android-based software. Because if I remember correctly, when you use Apple to push your apps and stuff, you have to give them like a 33% fee of the revenue generated or something like that. So, yeah, this is a much smaller cut to have to give to Epic compared to Apple. In addition to that, some developers are able to potentially take advantage of what's called Epic First Run and other programs that Epic Games will offer, which will allow them to receive and retain 100% of their royalties and earnings from front to back. Epic won't be able to take any piece of it. So that's another thing that will draw more attention to Epic Store and will increase the competition potentially against Apple and those type of companies. And because of that, I don't know about you guys, I'm pretty curious about where this would go. Would competition easily ramp up in the European market when it comes to Epic Store Mobile and any other company that wants to put their bid into that market? Do you anticipate any other companies entering that market and taking advantage of this, which will only further pressure Apple and Samsung and those other kind of Android friendly companies to change their business policies, to change their business model, mainly when it comes to the revenue split, when it comes to like applications and things that they host on their app stores for their devices. But not only that, I'm curious about like if there are data leaks, security breaches, and people's personal information or their banking information was to be leaked or simply to be compromised and someone got unauthorized access to them. I wonder, how would that blame game go? Would Apple be able to wash their hands of it if they find out that a group of their iPhone users decided to use a third-party mobile app to download games and stuff, but it ended up being insecure and their personal data was stolen or their credit card information was stolen, whatever the case is? Would they be able to wash their hands of it and say, hey, we have no oversight when it comes to these third-party apps. We weren't a fan of this, but you guys implemented a law that tied our hands. So we couldn't, reject them, but only for so long. We had to allow these people to do what they wanted to do with their devices. So will Apple be able to use that as an excuse to wash their hands of it? And, whenever these potential litigation situations come up, they literally can just turn their back and go about their business? Or, and people being people, will they have no choice but to entertain these lawsuits? Because at the end of the day, these are Apple products. So people may be able to flip it and frame it as your products were insecure, even if we didn't use your app store. Your devices are insecure in themselves and stuff like that. And obviously, if you know anything about technology, that's not necessarily true when it comes to the application itself, but you never know. Unfortunately, when you reach a certain level of success, your company as an individual and whatnot, I've actually learned that lawsuits just become part of the game. You really can't, become a 1%er per se as an individual or as an organization and avoid lawsuits. And I used to talk to my manager about this when I was a contractor last year. It was something that she confirmed to me. If you were to become like a C-suite executive of an organization, even just as an individual, that's why, if you notice, a lot of chief information officers, chief technology officers, CEOs, CFOs, all those people, those positions are revolving doors, and they tend to leave at the sign of a super big and bad lawsuit because something happened and now they get blamed for it and all that stuff, and next thing you know, they resign. It's because when you're in a position of influence and power like that, even if you're not the one that made that situation happen, that made that mistake or caused that error, just because you're highest up in the food chain in that regard, you're the one that may end up having to do some time and get hit with the consequences. So a lot of people, when they get hit with those type of situations, they exit stage left, and then they just hop over to another company, become a chief something officer over there, and it rinses and repeats. It's pretty much impossible to become someone high up the corporate ladder, high up the food chain in society when it comes to, your socioeconomic standing, and lawsuits and litigation is not going to be a part of your life. Apparently I won't say it's impossible, but it's just such a part of the formula that if that's something that you're pursuing, you might as well just prepare for it the best way possible. But yeah, guys, I'm curious on how this is going to play out, especially when it comes to the rising competition against Apple and these other companies, because now third-party companies can start doing whatever they want when it comes to making their own app stores and, avoid giving Apple money that maybe they could have been holding on to this whole time. And this only affects Europe right now. So who's to say that this doesn't ramp up big enough? And next thing you know, the United States might want to implement a law like that. Maybe certain parts of the Asian markets will want to do stuff like that. You never know. So I'm curious what the long-term implications of this will be, assuming, this becomes profitable for Epic. Maybe Epic will become the example and you know, it'll spur on other companies, if they haven't already gotten started, to follow suit and, you know, start holding on to more of their money, and they don't have to go by Apple's, you know, policies and Google's policies and stuff like that. I'm curious where this is going to go. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end the video off here. Go ahead and share your thoughts and opinions with me in the comment section below, as well as feedback, suggestions, just general comments and stuff like that. And I'll see you guys in the next video.